Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show. I'm so happy that you joined us, and thank you for, being here, where we have really important discussions going on. And we want to thank, of course, Chris Wootton with the Wootton Financial Group. My voice just all of a sudden started going. Okay. Anyway, so thank you, Chris. Thank you, Wootton Financial Group. They're so great, and we will be talking about them probably for the next 6 months because he's our new sponsor. But we're going to have Chris on next week. On next Thursday, he'll be on, and he'll be giving you some great advice, ideas, and things like that you can follow. They're an independent fiduciary advisor with professional advice to help put the pieces of your retirement puzzle into place. And their key services are income tax, estate investment, and insurance planning, which is such an really exciting if you have the money for that, and to make you more wealthy. And no, everybody's so worried about their money and retirement, but there's people like Chris that are there to help you out. Anyway, so be sure and tune in next Thursday to listen to Chris. Okay, so today is just Richard and me, and Richard, that was so much better the way you did the box, so we could see you. And did you like that? Were you uncomfortable with that?
No.
But that camera right there is kind of
it'll change
in your face
when we get the desk in. Hopefully.
Oh, that's right. We've got new equipment, and new desk, and everything coming.
New year.
It's a new year. I did want to talk about the new year. This is New Year's Eve.
Because New Year's Eve is Saturday.
There's 2 Eves.
Saturday.
Yeah, this is 2 Eves.
Today's Thursday. Sunday.
Okay. So New Year's Eve is Saturday. So New Year's Eve
is Friday.
And this is
Eve.
Eve is anyway. It's a while till you get to party. So I'm sorry, but are you gonna go party? Are you gonna go to a party? Or are you gonna?
No, we're gonna keep it local.
You're gonna what?
Keep it local.
Good. That's. Oh, you're getting old. You know that, right?
No, it's more of the hassle of going places, and luckily Holly and I don't really enjoy those kind of things, so we always like to be around friends, and then usually
that's perfect.
Those friends would like to do fires and hang out. I want to watch football, so because TCU's in the
is football on
Christmas
Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, during the day, Eve. But not.
No, it's 4:00 is the TCU versus Michigan game, and I think 8 o'clock. I think is the other one, because you know how they did college football championships now, like a playoff.
Oh yeah.
So the playoffs are on Saturday.
Oh, so they're really big games.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Oh, good. Sam has something to do to watch that. That's great.
And we have a Texas team in the playoffs, so we got to support that.
Yeah, but he's just obsessed with U of H basketball.
Yeah.
Football. He loves U of H football.
Yeah.
And so they're doing so well. They've been doing so
well. The season's over.
Yeah, but they had been doing so well. He was having so much fun watching them.
And now they just crap.
Yeah, and now like the Astros, we had so much fun with the Astros. If they could have just kept going, we had so much fun. Something to do. I popped popcorn. It was great. Had all kinds of snacks, but that's all gone. So, and now Mattress Mac is saying, now if they win it all again for a third time, then we're going to give you this much more money.
Why not?
What?
Why not?
Oh, well, of course.
He's betting at the casinos.
He bets across the board, right? And so he's going to win big on something. So I don't understand betting that much anyway.
Well, yeah, me either. I have zero idea. And then it's it's funny. I'd be interested if a listener knows more about this. Is when did gambling become so prominent in sports publicly?
When Pete Rose bet against him?
No. I know betting on sports has been going on for generations, but I'm talking about like the ads. It's like it was almost like a law passed that I never even knew passed, and it's like now I get DraftKings commercials every time you're watching the football game. I'm like, I thought there was a big thing about not promoting gambling publicly.
So was that like you were thinking maybe it was a blue law thing, like a religious thing?
Something, because I know like the state of Texas, I thought you couldn't gamble in Texas.
It was a long time before
but we can gamble on our phones now with our apps. And I'm like, is that legal? Like, how do we claim that those winnings on our taxes if you're like, oh, I was gambling? I feel like you're not supposed to tell them you're
Yeah.
gambling. I don't really know how it works. I never really gambled enough to where I won a bunch of money where I'm like,
Right.
what do I do now? Because my friend went to Louisiana and he won a bunch of money there, and he was talking about like it's like a requirement. So if you go to the casino and you win $10,000, they immediately bring your money and then they bring you like the tax form that you have to fill out.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like automatic. So it's right then and there. You can't like I don't even know if they'll give you the money without filling out or checking a box saying like, oh, I'm going to do it myself, so the liability is not on them.
So it's a wonder they don't have like a big booth with the H&H block standing there waiting before you leave at the door.
No, they give you like a copy of it, and it's like so when you file your taxes, you
But you have to fill that out. while
yeah, it's
you're
like
there.
a form. It's like a special
Yeah.
form. So I imagine when you're filling out your taxes, or something like, did you get one of these forms? Fill it out. So
See, I need to
but
ask
see,
my
I don't know
sister.
anything about that stuff. So it's kind of like, when did that become such a big deal? Because I know fantasy football has been a big deal, and now a lot of money has been involved in fantasy football.
Well,
But that's
you know,
always been like friends. But
it was
now
a-
it's getting big. We're like, you can win $100,000.
it was a real big deal for the lottery to come into Texas, and
Yeah.
there was so much.
Now there's
you
so
know,
many lotteries.
Oh man, and so, but as soon as they found out how much money they could make with the lottery,
Yeah.
you know, and
I
the-
don't know why Texas just doesn't allow casinos here.
I don't either. Maybe they're
'Cause
just
I want
trying
to
to
say
keep it down.
there's can you gamble in Arkansas? Mm-hmm. Can you?
I don't know.
Because I know Louisiana and Oklahoma have casinos, so there's two neighboring states that allow gambling. And
Have you ever gone into a state where the Indians have all the?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oklahoma,
Yeah.
I think they have a bunch. And
Right.
I've been to like in California, I've been to it, and there's one here. There's one locally here that is a native nation, but the games they can only do a certain amount of games. Like they can't. I don't think they can do poker, but they can do like slot machines.
But they don't pay taxes.
I don't know
right?
what it is.
That's what-
because they've been in the studio. I think it's called like Nakatomi or something like that. I don't really know. Because they're about an hour and a half drive from here, like the casino they have, and it's in Texas.
Yeah.
But I know they're limited on what they can say what it is. Like it's really, when they came in, they were like, "These are the things we can't say." And I'm like, "Well, why are you going to even have a conversation? Like we can just say, hey."
Right.
Like-
It is. It's
Because they didn't want to break
strange,
the
like,
rules that they just got this license, so we cannot screw this up. I'm like, well, man, I'll just let you talk, and then
It's funny that they keep a low profile in a sense because they don't want
Mess
the
it up,
government
yeah.
to come have a
I don't know.
hearing on it and go like, do we still need to be giving them all these tax breaks? You know, they're big boys now. We don't need to keep doing this, should we?
Well, that's what I find ironic. It's like, why doesn't just the state of Texas go, yeah, we'll just do that?
Well, it's almost like reparations, right? Whenever
I think in a sense, it's
what
like
we do for them.
they just had good lawyers, and they're like, hey, we know you're going to screw us over, so at least let us benefit from the screw over.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
But
There's a give and take to that, too. From what I understand about the native nations, like they have to have their own police force, they have to have their own infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it, like for example, like I don't know if the taxes the local counties take give them some money. Like they have to collect their own thing.
well,
Does that make sense?
It's like the senator who had claimed that she was an Indian.
Well, it had nothing to do. I'm talking about like
No,
how did they get
I'm
money?
talking about how people are taking so much advantage of saying that they're Indian.
Oh yeah.
Well, and then maybe just like tiny bit Indian by one person in the family lineage, and then they think, well,
Not a big deal.
then
NBD.
I can.
What about that
I
current
can
guy,
go-
that Republican guy who said he was gay and Jewish? And,
Right.
But he's not gay and Jewish? I like it.
I thought he was a Democrat. He's a Republican.
He's a Republican.
Okay. Oh, I'm just assuming. I'm
Well, that's
sorry.
why. That's why the big upset is he has like some seat that he won over a Democrat seat, but now if they get him out, it'd be like everyone's always talking about seats in the government. So it's
Yes.
But
well, I mean,
when I read that though, what's funny to me is like, how did this guy not think the internet existed to do any research?
I agree.
Because I mean, think about the Elizabeth Warren. If that's her name, I forget
Yes,
her name.
it's Elizabeth
So
Warren,
imagine
that's-
like how many years she got hit every year about that, because it's been such a big topic for the past 15, 20 years.
I know,
for
but
her.
when Trump came and found
Well, that's
out,
what I'm saying. Like, but
what
they've been saying
percentage
they've
she
been
was.
saying about that earlier though.
Yeah.
Regardless of Trump, it was like they were.
but he made the biggest fun of it and called her.
Well, that's what. So I was telling you we're moving a bunch of our software stuff over, And Holly's even talked to me about the medical field. Is now when they do questionnaires, it's really funny when they ask you like your gender and all that kind of stuff.
They're asking your gender?
Well, like for example, I was making a default form for the radio station. Like this is what sponsors and stuff fill out, and it's like you can ask their gender, and I was like, I don't really need to know. And then I looked at it, and it had like all these options. Like, wow, okay, like that's really creepy that businesses want to know this.
Yeah, every acronym
That
in the
really
book.
really creeps me out. I was like, I can really divide. I can really just get all this data about everybody's like. I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know that. Like, I don't really care. But I guess some nonprofits do, and I mean, it's amazing what the information people want these days.
They may get some kind of breaks by having so many.
I don't know. Maybe
people
I don't know.
of gender, but do they have? I mean, I saw them start doing like, are you male, female, and then they had other, and
Others fine. Or like on the option they had that I could see is like, I don't want to tell you, and I'm like, okay.
because you're afraid of what it might.
No, I
do
mean like
you.
I rather not. Like I rather not. Like no comment, basically. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
I agree.
It's
What does that
weird.
have to do with them?
Well, this is like
wanting
a
to-
default form, so it's like I can imagine. But other companies are doing it too. Mm-hmm. And Holly was saying that it was difficult when you do when she's at the hospitals. They ask all these questions, and it becomes medical. But then it sometimes isn't really regardless of medical. It's more of like just put down your medical history. But I don't know.
Do they have to? Does she have to ask like, how do I refer to you? How do you want me to
Yeah,
be
stuff
referred
like
to
that,
you?
yeah.
Okay. I was wondering how she handled
Yeah.
that. That was like, I know it's no big deal. Just you're patient number 452. So that's
You're in room 204.
yeah.
This is what
that's all we
I've
need to
told
know.
your issue is. You don't have to talk to me the whole time.
That's a good point because she probably wouldn't want him to anyway, right?
No, it just depends. She said, well, she's a caring person, so she feels that rehabilitation medically also involves the mental aspect
Sure.
of rehabilitation. So she wants,
Sure. And the trust aspect of it.
like cleaning people is really important to her. Like make sure they're clean, and because she's special, she was a wound care nurse. How do you get different rings every day?
This is
Oh, you got it on your watch. Whose idea was to give you an Apple Watch, Cindy? That's what.
turn the volume down.
Turn it off.
I don't.
Turn off the.
How do you turn it off?
Oh, you put it on without knowing how to turn it off?
Well, that
That's the
wasn't
problem with society, Cindy.
That's
People are putting things on them they don't know how to turn off.
No, I have a my code
No,
to
I
get
get
into it.
And I understand why you have that. We literally had that discussion with Holly about her mother. Like, how do we make sure she's okay? And they're like, well, should we get an Apple Watch? I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, it really does show how old your children think you are because they give you this and then they want to track you, which he was already doing. He was my son was tracking me on my phone and had all that information, and now he's got this, and so I guess he can tell everything. But it kept waking me up, and I didn't. So I took it off and put it in another room so I wouldn't hear it, and then I forgot to put it on. And then you go, weren't you wearing your watch, or why don't you answer on the phone? So,
When do you think our society is just going to force old people, to be put in an area? Like, I'm waiting for it. Because I think we talked about that a couple shows back about Canada completely opening up their process so you can commit suicide.
Yeah, that is
So
okay.
it's just like, now it's going to be like an ultimatum if you like join the army.
What was the guy's name? Doctor, but start with a K. Or he was the one who was, putting people to death that wanted to die. They were in so much pain, they wanted to die, and so he'd do it. And then they brought him up for charges for doing that, and then it became this issue. Like, well, what if somebody wants to die? If it's okay if we decide if we don't want this baby anymore, why can't I decide I don't want to be here anymore? I have enough, right to
I see
say
no problem
that.
with that.
I know you don't. That's when I know that you don't have a problem with that. But some people, what if they regret it right at the end, right before he did it? You want to go like, no, I
Then
want
you
to
don't do it.
I want to live.
Then you don't do it. You're legally obligated not to do it.
that's
Well,
horrible.
yeah. But I can see society doing that in like 50 years. Like, oh, the strain on the system.
Well, believe me, they already. My mom, needed to have surgery. She had fallen. She needed to have surgery, and the doctor said, "We're not going to do the surgery because she's too old."
Yeah. And they're just going to let her die.
And we don't think it would do anything. I said,
Yeah.
"What?" And that was their reason.
No, I remember.
for it.
We had this conversation like 5 shows ago.
But that's horrible.
yeah, it's worse. It's worse than other countries too.
And then for them to have a board that reviews what this patient is asking, and they go like, "Nope, out. We know we need more beds. So we're going to put them out."
And I always find that ironic when people's like, "Oh, money's not everything." I was like, "Well, money just gives you more options."
True.
So
true.
it's like,
I know when we had COVID, the hospitals were full, and so people kept coming to try to get in, and all the cancer people and the heart problem people
like you
had to wait for whenever they decided, okay, now we're starting to calm down now, but so that really was scary because you don't know what's going to happen.
No one knows anything. There's no structure to it. But see, that's the positive and the negative of that kind of healthcare system. Because I bet the UK was like, yeah, we already have this in place because we already kill all these people all the time. So we just know how to triage really correctly here. Mm-hmm. Because the socialized medicine, you don't have a choice most of the time. It's like the doctor's going to tell you, and that's what you're going to do. All aspects of medicine. So it's, if you're old and they tell your mom, you won't even have an option unless you had money. It's like, no, she's just going to die. Sorry.
Well, are you saying, well, I'm going to take her out of here? You can't take her out.
Yeah,
I said, yes, I can.
Probably, yeah.
Yes, I can. You watch me. Y'all just stand back and watch me. I'm going to take her out of here. And I'm going to put up a really big stink about this, and I'm going to tell them what you decided. You decided whether she lives or dies because it's not going to be convenient for you. And they said, well, as long as you sign this paper saying you did it on your own, and if she dies, it's your fault, not our fault. So I went, no problem. So I took her home, and she lived to be 95. Mm-hmm. And it was just, they were wrong. So
There you go.
Now you've got me all riled up. I'm going to have to go call somebody. Let's see, who is there to call? No, you have no. That's what's scary is how do you make something? Let's get a lawyer.
How do you make a change?
Yeah, how do you get a lawyer? You vote.
Well, you get on social media and make funny TikToks.
What? Get on
social media and make funny TikToks, and that changes people's view.
But they just take you off the air.
Maybe people have seen it. If it's a good message, it spreads like wildfire.
Got to do an underground. It's really secret where you can go and really get the truth about stuff. And
that's the QAnon people.
Yeah,
that's where you need to go.
They just really messed up that letter. Anyway, so we're so happy to be here and it's going to be a new year. And what does everybody get so freaked out about when it gets to be, December 31st and January 1's coming? What is it you get obsessed with?
You're talking about, you're asking
I'm asking you, what's the majority of people get obsessed with as it comes to January 1?
Get their taxes done?
It's February, right?
Yeah, but you can technically do it on January 1st.
Right.
If you get all your information.
If my sister's listening, she's going she's screaming at the radio because that's what I do. I wait till the
Well, yeah, I think
last minute.
If you're talking about going to the gym or something,
it's resolution.
It's self-evaluating. It's what do I need to do?
Yeah. Do you make a list of resolutions that you're going to do?
No.
No? I understand
It's just
that.
another Saturday.
See, I agree with that. Gosh.
Who's calling you? Why don't you look at your phone? Your phone, I can see it right there. Who is it? They might need to talk to you, Cindy.
It's healthcare people.
They're listening.
When
they're like, Cindy, we don't kill people. Right. We don't.
You take that back. What you said. Okay, I'm gonna.
Here, let me see that watch. I'll turn it off. Here.
Okay, if I. Here. My phone is silenced. Doesn't it do everything your phone does?
Yeah.
Well, why is it still ringing? You should see me at night trying to put my arm under a pillow or something to keep it
I think I turned it off.
Making any noise.
Shut
up. Watch. No. But I mean, it's
or I
really
restarted. I
sweet.
restarted. I don't know what exactly I did.
Yes, restart. Yeah.
Oh, great. I thought I turned it off.
I don't know where to put it. Anyway.
What a great Christmas
sorry.
gift.
Yes, I know it. It is great because it tells you how much you've walked, and it tells you get up, stand up, go do something, go walk, and if you want to obey that watch, you can. If you don't want to, then you just don't look at it anymore, because it's like having Sam say, "Okay, I think you need to get up and go run or something." But anyway, that's what I thought. The idea, it tells me what my heartbeat is and how much I've walked. I think that's cool. But you can text people, you can, they call you and all that stuff. So that's what they told me. They said, you always lose your phone. So now if you put that on, well, you'll always know we can still get a hold of you. And so it'll be fine. You said Holly sometimes misplaces her phone?
Yeah.
And so, but she's never lost a phone, right?
No.
She says
She just loses things all the time. Keys.
Because she has so much going on in her
shoes.
head. She's got all this stuff she's been studying and working on, and the people she's coming in contact with and who she's helping now, and their problems.
Purses.
You're just going to keep naming stuff.
IDs.
Okay, all right. But we all do that. Don't you do that? Do you misplace
Occasionally.
things? Okay. Well, so if you can do it one time, and then, but you...
I would say it's 50-50. Like 50% it slips through a crack, and I'm like, I didn't realize this. I'm like, where the heck is this? And then I find it like under the couch or something. Other times someone moved it, and then like you discover
you blame
it.
somebody else on it for it.
Well, no, it's that's what I love about being married, because today's our anniversary, and I always remind her, like, remember that time you took my wallet, put it in one of our cooking dishes that you put up on top of the shelf, and then we're moving out of our apartment, and I grabbed this cooking dish that's at the very top of the shelf. They had to climb up to get. Like, even I had to climb on the counter to get. And I'm like, oh, there's my wallet. It had all my stuff in it for like 2 years. It was missing. I was like, what is it doing up here? Oh, I guess I put it in there. So,
Oh, wow.
that was fun.
But you didn't get mad at her.
No.
You didn't say...
I mean, after I had to get a new ID, get a new wallet, cancel all my credit card, debit card, all my other IDs I had, and I'm like, I got to redo it all.
And I know you didn't hold that over her head, right? When you found out she was the one who was at fault. Well...
And then it happened again with my jacket, one of my favorite jackets. Found it when we moved out. I thought I left it at a friend's house. I was like convinced I left it at my best friend's house. Like, you need to find this jacket. And he's like, I haven't seen it. And then when we're moving out, I opened a suitcase. I was like, why is my jacket in the suitcase? That's been storage. Like, what's going on here? Oh, I guess I just put it in there because you left it out.
You know what? I have to congratulate you that each time you've done that, you blamed yourself and you thought you're the one that did it.
Yeah.
Instead of immediately saying, Holly, like some people I know do about their wives, that it's always...
Oh, in the back of my mind, it's always there. Like, I'm like, I can totally see my wife just picking this up because she was tired of seeing it on the chair or something, and then forgot she put in this. It's kind of like when when people clean up.
Yeah.
And they just move this box in 10 different ways each year. It's like, oh, I got to get this out of the way. I'll put it over here. I'm going to move it over here.
Right.
And then finally it ends up in the garage, like underneath all that stuff. And that's basically the migration of lost items.
Well, are you a real neat person?
No.
You're not.
Like,
I mean,
look at this desk.
You don't have a camera on the desk, do you?
Nah. There's just stuff everywhere.
That's what my desk looks like at home.
Yeah.
So you can judge people by that, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's the way to judge people.
My dad tells me every time. He's like, you really didn't clean this. I was like, yeah, but I don't.
But is your dad a real neat?
Yeah.
Okay. So he knows where everything is. So that's so sad.
But he also doesn't know how to like wash his clothes. So there's
always,
positives and pros and cons.
But he's so organized. He's so left brain.
Like I'll never. What was it? During the Christmas holidays, we're with Holly's mother, and then I think I was on the phone with my mom. She went to go see her sister, and I could hear my dad in the background going like, "You can't leave. You got to wash my clothes." And then she's like, you can wash your own clothes. Well, which detergent do I use? She's like, we only have one detergent. Like, what are you?
Oh, Sam would love to hear that. Sam does all. He's so independent. He knows he needs to be. I finally trained him. Don't depend on me to get this stuff done. If you want it done, then make sure you do it yourself, and that's going to help you be much more self-reliant. No, he's perfect about that. And he comes in, he tries to help me. Like he'll go in the kitchen. I can hear him in the kitchen, and he's slamming the doors, the cabinets and stuff. And I know the conversation he's having with himself about that. It just drives me crazy because he is judgmental sometimes about that. But he's good.
Yeah.
And my dad called him a saint. He said, Sam's a saint, right? And I went, what do you mean by that? And he goes, he's just a saint, and you need to recognize that. And I went, are you saying because it'd be so hard to live with me and because of what I don't do or should do? And he's just a saint, Cindy. Just accept it and go on. I told Sam that, and he goes like, he thinks I'm a saint? What? And I said, I think because of what you have to put up with. Because
the secret to all marriages is
what?
Just limit the opportunity of something better coming along.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, typically it means nothing else is better has come along, so they stick with it.
So stay with it.
That's what it's just luck. Because something better could have come along easily. I bet if you did research on like a city like New York when it came to divorces and came to long-term marriages, and then you do like a small town, I don't think they would be the same.
Well, of course not.
Because I feel like there's so many people, so many more opportunities in New York, and it's just the norm.
No, it's okay. We've been married 53 years. December 24th.
Yeah.
That's when we got married. Okay, so 53 years, and if you, in the times when you've had it, that's it. I'm leaving.
Do you think there's
goodbye.
you think there's a big hump where it comes to like, oh, we're no longer attractive people, so we can't cheat on each other?
Nobody's gonna want you.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
You think everyone hits that moment?
No, but I think that you become more attractive to that person. It's really strange, and sometimes I'll say,
that's why I love the evolution of the human body. It's you see like my friends, and then like some are women, some are married, and it's like when they have a baby, it's like 100% of their mind. I got to get in better shape.
Yeah,
like right after the baby.
Right.
It's like the most critical thing next to taking care of this child.
Right.
And I'm like, so you're just trying to preserve your. And then eventually it's just like, where everyone just lets it go, especially the guys. I love it when the guys just let it go. They have that beer gut.
Yes,
I think that's great. When you see the beer gut, like, man, that guy but see, that beer gut didn't just happen overnight.
No.
So it's like, oh, that guy has let it go for 20 years.
But they still, those guys don't even notice that being anything that's going to be a deterrent for them to go after some young chick.
Oh no.
That's what's so sad.
Well,
that's
what's so great about it. Today. Everyone's becoming equal. So it's both ways.
No, I think it's great that the TV is having so many commercials elevating women that are overweight. I think that's wonderful. I really appreciate that because trying to make it look normal and make it look attractive and all that. But there are a lot of men that would rather have women overweight.
Well, we're all changing.
Well, yes, I think that was always been around. It is a big mama.
Yeah, but I think also with technology, it's so easy to meet people and fulfill those needs. Some people have different needs. So it's like,
right. You mean the dating apps and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, just communicating with people. It's so easy to find people who are liking the same thing you like. And
right.
It's not hard.
It's
totally different from what it was 50 years ago, where it's like the only people you communicate with are your workmates and then your parents.
True.
And then maybe, because I look at my friends, I have about 15 friends that I keep talking to, and we've been friends since, I don't know, middle school. But then I look at my parents' friends, they have like one friend. So it's like either
they start dying out. Friends start dying out.
No, I don't think they're dying out. I think
no, your parents are what, 60?
Yeah.
Are they 60-ish?
70.
70?
Yeah, I think she's 70. My mother's 74. Maybe 71.
I could be your mommy. I'm 74.
Here, let me look it up.
So if you're gonna look it up,
well, I know when my mother was born. Yeah, she's 71.
1948?
51.
No, she can.
Did I do it right?
No.
Yeah. It's
I was-
2022 minus 1951, so it's 71. She's 71.
71. Oh, I thought she was 74. I
No,
thought you said she was
71.
74. Okay. All right. Well, that's great. You need to have more respect for me and talk to me like you would your mom. Are you respectful to your mom?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to see, and me, I'm getting close to where, like the grandma. You need to treat me like the grandma. All of the kids' friends call me grandma, and I know that would make their grandma probably angry because they do that. I tell them, I said, no, I don't. Unless you ask your grandma if it's okay. That's a precious name.
Well, I don't say mother anymore if there's a lot of people in the room. I say Mary.
You call her by her name?
If there's like a bunch of people in the room, and there's other moms.
Yeah. Well,
Because I have, 5 brothers and sisters. They're all married.
mm-hmm.
So when we all get together, there's at least 6 moms in the room.
Yeah.
So
So you just say her
Mary,
name?
and then I'm like, but if it's just her and like we're having dinner, I'm like, how was your day, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I'm glad you do that. What do you call your dad?
Dad or father.
See, he has the same name as you have, so
Yeah.
he's Richard
Or I
too.
call him Rick.
Rick. You call him Rick.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't know when I'm texting him or you, because you're the fourth, right?
Yeah.
You're Richard the.
That's because you refuse to call me Dick.
Shh. Don't
Because
say.
you can easily put that in your phone, and then you're not talking to my dad.
Yeah, that would.
I don't know why you even have my dad's phone number. It's kind of creepy.
Well, because he I don't have his phone number, but
Or you're talking about Facebook.
on Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
And so I've never
That's
never
creepier.
talked to him. But he does, like when you.
How many
you're going-
messages do you get on Facebook from dudes, Cindy?
How much what?
How many messages on Facebook do you get from dudes? From guys?
Weird.
I bet you get a lot that are like bots.
They're like, they want to.
They want money. But like they go, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. Like, who the hell is this?
No, these guys are just divorced, and they want to get to know me better. So I'd like to be able to correspond. Could you let me into your Facebook? Accept my, and so I try and delete and say block.
Well, luckily for you, Sam's probably not checking those out.
He thinks that Facebook is horrible. He cannot believe I'm on Facebook. He'll
Yeah.
always say, whatever he tells me or something, he goes, I better not see this on Facebook. I went, no. He doesn't care if I show him with the deer he's killed or something, but he doesn't want any kind of private information. If he'd do the conversations that I have with everybody, but he says there's certain things you just, please keep between us, okay? That's just something private, and don't put it on Facebook. I went, okay. But I have to be try and be transparent, Sam. And he goes, shut up. And don't even talk like that. And he said, so what are y'all going to talk about today? And I went, oh, Richard and I can, start any kind of conversation and carry it on until the cows come home. It's
Yeah.
just crazy. But I wanted to find out what kind of resolutions that you made.
None.
And none. Thanks.
Lone Star Community Radio is coming back. There you go. It's going to be better than ever.
See, well, that's it. That's what we hope. In fact, the way to make it better, because this is going to be the transition, the way to make it better is going to be how you can donate or be a sponsor to this radio station.
Yeah.
And you were going to do an educational thing with with what you're supposed to click on. And if you want to donate any amount, I mean, it could be anything like $5, $10, $15. If you want
you
to
just go to your
donate
website.
that, go to my website.
Yeah, it's irlonestar.com/TCCS for the Cindy Cochran Show. Or
T-
visit irlonestar.com and go to shows and click on Cindy.
TCCS.
And there's a little donate to TCCS right here. They can click it.
Okay, and they're seeing that right now,
Yeah.
right?
Or if you're really a giver, you can give it to the stations instead of Cindy.
No. You want to give it to the Cindy Cochran Show. You better give it to the Cindy Cochran Show. Yes. No. If you want to donate, that would be precious of you. and it would be very helpful.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be a sponsor, that's a different category, and you can
Just reach out to the station, and we'll get it all connected. Because we know Cindy doesn't check her email.
and they will, and he will connect with you. But if you want to just let me know, it's fine.
Don't tell Cindy. Just
Don't
tell
me.
the station.
No.
Tell the station if you want to sponsor, because she'll forget it's Tuesday or something. And
No. God, I could stay home and get this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you do want to donate, he's made it so simple and so easy for you to donate.
actually, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, there's a link right in the description where you can donate.
In the description, there's a link. Okay, well, you can do that. But do you think we should ever have like one of the things like Channel 8 used to have, and I'd go on, and they'd raise money, and they would have different people, different hosts or different people of different shows come on, and I would come on from the Signing with Cindy show and talk about how important it is that they donate to public station, and they'd have people on the phones taking the donations. Yeah, that was so much fun. It was crazy, but it was a lot of fun, and you had to just continually keep talking. And so I was doing this, and I'm talking, and I'm just going in, and all of a sudden I started getting pains in my chest. And I went, this is weird. I said, and I'll be right back. Okay, take it away. And I went.
And you had a heart attack?
I went and sat in the office, and I'm going, I'm telling people I'm having pains in my chest. And I had my doctor's personal number. And so I called him, and I said, I'm having pains in my chest. And he says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm on the telethon, on PBS telethon, and I'm hawking, people, trying to get people to give money. And he said, so you're talking a lot? And I went, yeah. And he said, are you taking in a lot of air? I said, yes. And he says, okay, take your index finger and put it right in the middle of your chest where your sternum is, and tap your sternum. And I went, ow. And he goes, okay, you have given yourself this inflammation of the sternum, and it feels like you're having a heart attack, but you're not. So you take 6 Advil, and then call me back in about an hour. If it's worse, or if it's getting worse, call an ambulance. But if it gets better, that means you've just got inflammation in the sternum. And I went, yeah, okay, thank you. And that's what I did. I sat around for about 15, 20 minutes. It all went away, and I got back out there. But it was just taking in so much, going, yeah. And the way I talked, the way I did it, I was like hawking, just like somebody at doing a, when I get into this and I can't, you go in and you go to a place that has antiques, and they're having an auction, like an auctioneer. That's what I kept talking like. And I said, I don't know how those guys do it without
practice.
Falling
It's
over.
like a muscle. You got to work it out.
Let's work it out. But
because you're used to just signing, not talking.
Right.
So it makes sense.
But I do take in.
Do you still sign? Do you have to take a class every 3 years to be still accredited? Or
No,
is
you
it,
have to take a certification. I took one of the first certifications they came out with. And
yeah, but I'm saying today, if you wanted to be paid ASL person,
right.
Do you have to have when's the last time you did your it was 1962. So it's do you have to update it?
Sure.
Kind of like if you're a lawyer, you have to update your stuff every so often and do classes. And
they get paid good money. I mean, they get paid hourly good money.
I imagine, because it's really hard to talk to a deaf person.
Yes, and I went to Rice University to interpret for a student. And this was before they.
You could probably get paid here locally at the courts.
They could have. I mean, now they pay really well for people to do this, but I just did it because the guy needed someone to interpret for him, and it was a geological. It was something, and I'm sitting there with Milby High School graduate, and going, okay, and the professor gets up there, and the kid's looking at me, and I'm going. I start trying to sign, and I said, I can't spell this word. And he goes, well, just say it. So I said it, and they went, that means, and then he gave me the sign for it. and it was pitiful. He was most of the time
I paid you, huh?
the stuff that they would say. What?
They paid you for this, and you know how to...
No, it was before they were paying.
Yeah.
Me. That's what I mean. They would need someone.
What's it like today?
I don't know. I'm been out of it for a while. I don't know what they do.
Why don't you get a bit more involved in it? I feel like that's like a unique skill.
I just wanted to interpret at church. That's when I started interpreting at church.
Yeah.
Doing that.
And you don't do that now.
I love that.
So what are you doing?
Well, I'm not interpreting. I was going to try and teach classes over the
Internet.
Over the internet, and I got 4 classes in. So if you want to go to Cindy Robinson Cochran, and I have.
How much is it? Like $15 an episode?
No, I didn't. I'm not charging anybody.
Why not?
It's just like it's called Cindy Cochran. The signing was Cindy Light, and so you can go in there and so I teach sign language and this is when I had the strokes. This is so bad. I know. I'd done the.
I always laugh with like when you see ASL people on like TV, and then like real world scenarios trying to apply it. Because was it a year ago, 2 years ago that deaf guy won an Oscar for Best Actor for Coda? Have you seen that movie, Coda?
Mm-mm.
It's all about deaf people. I'm surprised you weren't in it, but it made me think of. Say you are an interpreter and you're interpreting like the craziest conversation. Like say you're on like you're hired by the court and the guy you're interpreting is a murderer, and he's like describing the murder and you're trying to.
That's so funny. Let me tell you.
It's like what's the sign for murder? What's the sign for murder? And like kill. Like I just said kill, and like you have to do like every single time.
Well, whenever we'd finish signing with Cindy and it took off and that kind of stuff, and we were talking about what we could do next, and I said, I'm working on a script for a movie, and they went, a movie? And I said, yeah, it's about this girl that wants to be an interpreter. She wants to help the deaf and all that, and she goes to school, puts her through school and all that, and so she's finally graduated, and now she's ready, and she's ready for someone to, need an interpreter. So they call her and say, there's this man that needs you, and he said he'd meet you at this store. And so she goes to the store. She's all dressed just perfect, all black, ready to go. And she gets in there, and she comes up. They come up to the counter, and so the guy is saying to her, tell them to give me all the money. I have a gun, and I will shoot them if they. And he's telling me this, and I'm trying to interpret so they could hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know he had a gun. And then they take him out. So I thought that would be a fun thing to
I think it'd
do
be
a
fun.
movie
Imagine
about.
like if the president becomes deaf.
Yeah.
So you have to interpret all this top secret stuff to him.
Oh yeah. And then
And
you have all
so,
that information.
yeah.
And the Chinese come and kidnap you.
Yeah.
And make
And they
you
chop
tell
off
them.
your hands, and you can't sign anymore. So you have to sign with your feet, and then it gets real interesting.
You've thought about this, huh?
But no, ASL folks are. It's
This
interesting.
is a sign
Just-
for weird. Yes.
yeah, it's ASL folks are just interesting because it's like they have to.
Well, the ASL, see, I did signed exact English is what I learned, how I learned. So I'm signing it the same way that the deaf person may read it in a book.
Yeah.
But the ASL is more, it sounds
Conversational.
like, well, the subject matter comes in the front and the noun in the back. And anyway, it's more
that's
like
another
Indians
language, yeah.
saying.
Because aren't there 3 sign languages?
What?
Aren't there 3 sign languages now?
Who reads sign languages?
And there's 3 different ones, right?
There's ASL, signed
There's something
English.
in Europe. Europe has one that's not ASL.
Well, they started
Right.
inventing different ways to do. They did something where they tapped their mouth and they did things to so that they could see clearly and understand clearly what was going on.
Yeah.
But it never caught on. It never came
I
in.
don't know why I'm asking you.
ASL
I'm
has
just gonna search it.
ASL is probably the one that caught on, and I don't interpret that way. So I started turning down stuff saying I can't do that because
There's a lot.
they wouldn't like it.
So the main ones, there's 3 variations. There's American Sign Language, British Sign Language, and Australian Sign Language.
Right.
But throughout the world, there's been reported of over 300 different ones,
Right.
depending on the country.
and there's home sign language as well, because it's what
there's
the parents.
there's not a universal sign language.
No, but if I know sign language, I could go to Europe, and I could get around
Yeah,
better with
it's kind of like
deaf
we
people.
kind
than I
of get
could.
around
Yeah.
Spanish-speaking people a little bit because we're just raised around it.
Well, I was so surprised when I found out that I'd have to learn Spanish sign language and
Yeah,
French sign language and all,
That's-
and that
that's
it
boring.
was going to be too difficult to do. But a lot of the sign language is so, especially in the sexual aspect of the language, is so obvious.
Are you talking about like male, female, kind of like in Spanish? There's a male version and a female version of words.
No,
Or are you talking about physical, sexual?
physical, taking your hands and recreating a scene.
Okay,
It's a sexual
this is getting
scene.
weird.
They have that, and I didn't know that, and I was going to go interpret at some court appearance, and what I didn't know for sure if this was a murder or what it was. I just had no idea. I went over to these Yvonne and Larry's house, who helped teach me sign language, and said, if this becomes something like a rape or what do I do?
You can't laugh.
So they said, okay, we're going to show you what
Yeah.
this is, and this is the way you do it.
That's what I'm saying. Like those kind of scenarios make me wonder. It's like, how does somebody interpreting have to keep a straight face, but also show emotion because they're trying to replicate what the person is saying? Like you got to show emotion in certain words.
Right.
So
Right. I got in trouble because I was working for Channel 13, and the first women's women it was women's conference. It was in
wow,
seventh.
women,
Not
women's wrestling.
no, it was now National Association of Women, National Organization of Women came to Houston and had their first big conference downtown. And so they called me, and I called me to come down there. And when I got there, I just walked in the back. They said, come in the back. And these two very aggressive women came and took me to where the staging was. And they said, you're late. You should have been here. And they took me by like this and took me to where the office was.
Cindy, you were late. I don't believe it.
It was difficult to find. Anyway, so I went, and they told me go to the stage, and you're gonna stand right here. And the lady that was on.
That was a great conversation.
Okay, wait. There was the lady that is the star of. The guy that was so racist, the TV show, Archie Bunker, that show. She was sitting in the front row of this thing, and I walked out there and saw her, and I went, goodness, what is she doing here? So Bella Abzug gets up and starts speaking, and she starts just trashing the family, the husband, and that women that are married should get out of a marriage. The family was so bad, and that the way that women have got to stand up and become more manlike, and that's why we wear ties and we dress like. I mean, she just started trashing the family and God and the whole thing, and so I'm standing there going like, I'm not going to interpret this. I don't want anybody to hear what she's saying. So I started saying, she's speaking very. She's being very aggressive against the family, and she's being so mean. I don't know what's wrong with her. And so I'm just going to talk about the funny thing that happened to me on the way to this convention. And so I did that, and I started talking to him about just things that's been going on, at Channel 13 and all that stuff, and just tried to have the same facial expression that she was talking. And then it was over. Elma Barrera called me, and she says, I want to interview you about your experience at this women's thing.
Or is now like a terrorist organization now, or
now.
What is it? It's like an aggressive organization for
It
women's
was.
rights or something?
It was. They were very aggressive, but it's like the Me Too, division of that. But it was scary because those ladies were just things they said and talked about abortion, how everybody should, be cool with abortion because those aren't really babies. They're not even formed or anything like that. So it was just stuff that she was spitting out that I thought, I couldn't do it. And so Elma Brewer gets me in this room and says, "So how was your experience there?" And I said, "Well, it was different, but I just didn't agree with the speaker that I was having to interpret. So it made it very difficult for me to say what she was doing." And Elma's going, "Yes, but you're just an instrument. All you do is say what they say. There's nothing that you can't judge that. You can't." She started telling me what, and I said, "Well, just never put me in a position where I'd have to, try and interpret you saying something in Spanish." Okay? And she says, "What do you mean by that?" And so she cut the interview. And so that was it. Anyway, so I hope you learned something really strong today. And I hope you have a great, great New Year's Eve. We love you, first responders.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of